Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. We're talking Wrestlemania 38, Night 1. Honestly, a pretty memorable first night of Wrestlemania. I can easily tell you that I'm not the biggest fan of the two-night Wrestlemanias. I'd rather just get it over all in one shot, even if it would have been a little bit longer. I can tell you, even with splitting it up, there was times I was looking at the clock last night just being like, I know it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I just don't think I'm going to make it, dude. I'm tired from working all week, doing softball, and knowing I had to work first thing in the morning. I just was like, son of a gun. I'm at the point now where I wonder how I even did it when I was just hitting the towns for WrestleMania. I know that I haven't been to one since WrestleMania 32. Damn long time. I just keep thinking, I loved WrestleCon, I loved Access, but I just wonder how, I don't even remember how to plan the whole day out pretty much. So I think that anybody who went to Dallas, there was one point I was looking, I think it was last year when I was actually watching WrestleMania and they put the commercial on the screen, that I was kind of like, damn, I think I'd want to do it. But couldn't find anybody that wanted to jump. Hopefully it's a little bit different with next year with Los Angeles. I can tell you that I wouldn't want to plan it by myself, but if I can get my boys to go with me, I think that honestly it would be fun. Pretty good show. I mean, pretty good show. Definitely my bad. I did turn the show on 2 hours early. I saw the thing on the screen that basically said that WrestleMania started at 3. I didn't know that the 2-hour pre-show started at 3, and I kind of felt locked in by the time I found out that there wasn't going to be any matches. I just didn't have time to watch another TV show, go anywhere, or anything like that. So I just kind of sat there and drank in all that they were offering on the pre-show of going over all the matches, which is pretty good for me. I've been pretty honest. I don't watch Raw or SmackDown consistently like I did at one point. I try to follow the best I can through podcasts and through Twitter and news sites, things like that. But there's some guys on the show that I knew who they were, but I couldn't tell you a damn thing they've done since the last time I saw them last year at WrestleMania. I thought it was a pretty damn good show. Gave you moments that if you only tuned into WWE once or twice a year for WrestleMania, maybe the Royal Rumble, that you'd be like, I understand why this still works. I understand why they, filled up AT&T Stadium. Only 77,000, I believe, is what they announced. So the number's probably consistently lower than that, way lower than WrestleMania 32, where they announced more than, I think it was 112,000, if I remember right. And I know some news sites basically, said that was a more torn apart number than WrestleMania 3 ever was. But definitely the Cody Rhodes moment with him coming out. We all knew that it was going to be him. We all knew that it was the worst kept secret in professional wrestling. But there was that little thing in the back of your mind of, maybe Shane McMahon came out there as a surprise, sort of to dupe us into something, and then maybe Seth would beat Shane in a matter of seconds, and then Cody would come out saying that wasn't the right guy, anything like that. But then, of course, first time, 19 years, Stone Cold Steve Austin opened up a can of whoop ass, basically just whooping Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens was giving it to him. One hell of a night all over. Pretty consistent night. Show started with the Usos, one of the most consistent tag teams there is in wrestling. Love watching these guys. They were going up against Nakamura and Boogs. Nakamura at one point, one of the best wrestlers that there was in wrestling. I don't know much about Boogs other than, he is playing the guitar now for Nakamura. Nakamura already had one of the best entrances. Took a minute to get used to it, but I think with McAfee there, it makes it better. And pretty good match. Of course, Boogs got injured in the opener. He'll be out for a good little while. A lot of people were saying that they had to switch the finish. I think the finish was the right finish. I think that Usos keeping the title is good for them. It's good for the bloodline. It's good for Roman Reigns. Basically saying that they're on top of the game, and then not limping into the match against Brock at night 2. Just staying with that. Drew McIntyre, he won a match. He got to use his big sword. He cut up the ring. Wasn't a ton in this match. I think if there was a pre-show, this would have been a pre-show match. The only thing bad for Drew is WrestleMania 36, he won the championship against Brock in the main event. Last year, I think he wrestled against Lashley for the championship. It wasn't the main event, but it was definitely a big match on the card. And it seems like he is a main eventer for them, but it seems like he's slipping down the card. To me, it was a match that it should have been on the pre-show. From there, we went to Miz and Logan Paul going up against the Mysterios. Logan Paul, to me, was a lot like a celebrity that fit in the line of like Snooki, where nobody wanted to give Logan Paul a chance. I think he went out, he practiced, he trained. I think he put on a good match for the fact that he tried. And I think when it comes to celebrities, that's the one thing we ask for more than anything else. The fact that, he was able to hit the frog splash off the top rope. They were able to get the win. Where they're going with Miz turning on Logan Paul, I'm not quite sure, because I'm guessing this is going to lead to maybe a singles match where Logan Paul comes back. And I don't think they're going to be able to position Logan Paul as a babyface that the people feel bad for, that, Miz took that shine from him at WrestleMania. I just think that, Miz comes out, they're going to be cheering him, and, Logan Paul's going to get booed. And I think that, when they wrote that situation, I think they tried to make it where Logan would be the babyface. Bianca Belair, she beat Becky Lynch. The only thing I was, I thought that either could go two ways. I thought Bianca was going to beat Becky, and Becky would snap, and she would either go after Bianca Belair. I'm pretty sure they would not cut it, but I thought we were going to see some Brutus the Barber Beefcake action. But now we have to find out with Becky Lynch, is she going to tear the rest of her hair out? Is she going to go full on? I was really surprised that they let Bianca Belair cut Becky Lynch's hair on SmackDown. I figured that would lead to something with the hair. So maybe with Becky, she's going to feel this loss so bad that she's going to start pulling out her own hair. She's going to be as bald as Molly Holly was at WrestleMania 20. Come Monday Night Raw tonight. I think that would be a real shocking moment. But I think Becky pulled off the hair that she had. Maybe she just wanted to change her hair up and go in a different direction. They thought that it didn't make a lot of sense unless they had that moment. But you don't normally see a babyface just cutting somebody's hair, throwing it around, being such a babyface, just smiling and laughing, making fun of the heel, since the days of Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Didn't make sense to me. But damn good match. And Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch showed that, they were able to hold a women's match on the same show that Ronda Rousey was on, and didn't really hold back the card. The next match ended up being Cody Rhodes coming out to take on Seth Rollins. Very AEW. I mean, everything was there, from the entrance. It had the theme song. He had the same damn outfit as he would have wore if he walked out on AEW. I think the next AEW figure coming out, which is their first one from the Supreme line, wearing the same outfit that he wore at WrestleMania. I don't know if that's a good thing for AEW and Jazzware. I would guess it is. I would think that WWE might have asked Cody, hey, we'll give you everything else, but can you just change your outfit? So they're not going to make the money off it before we can. I don't know. it was just kind of surprising. They went out there, they gave it their all. They had a damn good match. I think the fans were behind Cody coming out, and I think they got with it. My only fear is where Vince is going to position Cody. How long before he kind of gets tired? I mean, we've seen them bring in Nakamura. We saw him bring in the Good Brothers. We saw him bring in, a lot of guys, from other places, whether it's TNA, New Japan, and it's like, oh, they stole somebody. It's a high free agent. They get pushed for 2-3 months, and then they just, boom. It's a lot like what's going on with AEW. They start signing the hot guys that get released from WWE, and they're like, you know what? We'll dust them off. We'll polish them up a little bit, and we'll fix them. They get a big night where they debut on the show, and within a month, it's kind of like, where did they go? Because they haven't got used to that long-term booking in AEW, and they're not a part of the stories that they're caring about at the point, because they're caring about so many others at a time. It doesn't matter if it's a guy like Andrade with Chavo. It's just they just get missed. From there, we went to Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Real big Charlotte Flair fan. Always been a supporter of her. To get a win over Ronda, pretty big for WWE to give her that. This was the match that I honestly really started feeling it on, and was starting to dip a little bit. But I think they held their own. Charlotte getting the win was a surprise, and it's going to make you come back for the next one to see Ronda whip on her. So we'll see, how Ronda holds her own by basically just getting beat. First time since WrestleMania 35 when she got rolled up by Becky and her shoulders weren't even on the mat. So go from there. Stone Cold Steve Austin, big main event. They came out. They actually sat in the chairs for a few minutes. It was actually a talk show like they told us it was going to be. I think they really wanted to under-promise, so that way when they had their brawl, they could over-deliver. Seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin whoop up on Kevin Owens was freaking awesome. Seeing Kevin Owens whip up on Stone Cold Steve Austin, where every time you saw him dropped on his neck or dropped on his back, you're just, oh, he's going to feel that tomorrow. I wonder, how he rolled that to bed today. So seeing Stone Cold, you can easily, say that so many times, we thought that they were building towards something, whether it was him versus CM Punk, him versus Brock Lesnar. Maybe it was us just seeing something that was sort of a dream matchup and just hoping that it was going to happen. We got it. Stone Cold Steve Austin. That has to be his last match. We can't be, hoping for it, come Los Angeles. It's not going to be there. I think he gave us everything that he had and more. He said it his best. He had his first match in Dallas, and he's going to have his last match in Dallas. He gave everything back to his home state of Texas, and us, as WWE, as wrestling fans, were the ones that got the most out of it. So, an awesome night. I loved it. It was fun, and we get to come back, and the Rock rumors for tonight. Damn. I guess it can only get better, man. Brock versus Roman, night 2. Let's see what they got. Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. Driving home on a Monday. We're coming off of WrestleMania Sunday. WrestleMania night 2. I can honestly tell you that WrestleMania night 2 was a little bit of a letdown for me. I know that they were building up like the main event as the biggest match in WrestleMania history, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns. I can honestly tell you that the most excited I got the whole night was with how good Sami Zayn versus Johnny Knoxville was. I thought that match definitely took up some time on the show, but I think it was the most deserving. And it was what, rewarded the fans for following that storyline so well. I heard a really good interview with Sami Zayn on Cheap Heat, where basically, they asked him about celebrities in WrestleMania, and he said that WrestleMania's celebrities don't really normally have a big reception with hardcore wrestling fans. They want to see the wrestlers that they see on Raw and SmackDown week after week. But if you really look at what WrestleMania panned out of, WrestleMania was a celebrity fest. That's what it began with. The first one was main evented by Mr. T, a celebrity. And you think about it, you got the names that were billed to be there were all, Muhammad Ali, Liberace. Those are, what put butts in the seats that night at Madison Square Garden to pay off to show what WrestleMania became to what it is today. It was fun waiting up for the Pat McAfee match, and I thought that honestly the match itself was pretty good, but what came out of it with Vince standing up to Pat McAfee and basically having their own little bit of a match, that match basically almost threw out everything that McAfee and Theory laid down in their match. And Stone Cold Steve Austin coming down should have been the easiest payoff of the night, of like a huge exclamation point on his career. The one thing I thought of when he, tried to kick Vince in the stomach, and then basically Vince fell down, got up, bounced off the ropes, and, just was lost. Didn't know how to just stand there and let Austin take over and hit the stunner like they've done 1,000 times in their career. Was Mick Foley talking about the trying to find an ending point for his career, where basically he said he was going to retire with a Hell in a Cell match against Triple H back in 2000. That match went so perfect that WWE came back and was like, hey, we have a spot for you in WrestleMania 2000's main event. And he said, how can you turn down the main event spot at WrestleMania? Came back, didn't live up to par, and, was sort of thinking about, man, I didn't really go out the way that I wanted to. Came back, had a good match, then tried to follow it up, and it just was a consistent, up and down, up and down, up and down. Never really being able to find that spot to be able to, be it. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 19, if that would have been his last match, I think that would have been a great, way to go out. Obviously, it's not with the win, and a lot of guys do, but not all heroes get to win at the end of the day, and he was a big part of, what made wrestling what it is today, and I don't think anybody's going to look bad at him for losing this one match at WrestleMania 19. Wasn't even a championship match. They gave Rock a notch in their rivalry. Stone Cold Steve Austin had already beat Rock twice in his career, WrestleMania 15, WrestleMania 17. 17 looked at as one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time. Although, WrestleMania 19 was supported by Rock versus Austin, but it definitely wasn't the main event of the night. That would be Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. And then, of course, you got Triple H versus Triple H versus Booker T. Man, that it didn't live up to what it was supposed to be. But that was supposed to be the championship match for the Monday Night Raw side. And if you were watching Raw leading to WrestleMania, they treated that like it was going to be a big match in the history of WWE. But I thought that, honestly, that stunner was bad. And it was, bad. It was almost to the point of, Linda McMahon at that one, Raw reunion show, or maybe it was Raw homecoming show. I'm sure it's not the last stunner that Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to give Vince McMahon. They'll probably find a way for Austin to stun McMahon at his funeral. But I don't know. It just bad. The night opened with the Monday Night Raw titles on the line. It was a pretty fun match, but I just miss those days of tag team matches. There's two styles of tag team matches that honestly deliver. The ones that come out of the gate with a hot, smaller size tag team. with just lots of fast, upbeat action, really good to kick off a show, and those like really big, grueling, like a Demolition, Powers of Pain, where, you know, they use that style of match where it is long, it does have a place, because you know that it's a good match that you're able to take a bathroom break or go get something to eat out of the kitchen. You're not going to get it, where basically the heels cut the ring in half and just just take it to task, just getting heat on your baby face, and all of a sudden, you know, you just don't want to miss that hot tag where the fresh baby face comes in, cleans house. Those are the matches that I just loved in the 80s and early 90s. They killed tag team wrestling, and then all of a sudden, you know, they just don't do it like they used to. It's cool to see Orton and what's his name? Hype Bro, whatever his name is, get the win in that opening match. I know the storyline's been for months just thinking that Randy's gonna turn on him, and it hasn't happened. I honestly would have penciled that in as a WrestleMania match, and it just never ever, you know, came to be. You know, the rest of the show, they had the tag match with the women. They're, you know, I'm not really gonna knock it for what it was, but I honestly just, if, you know, night one of WrestleMania was WrestleMania, this could have been like the Monday Night Raw after, and I would have been just fine with it. It just didn't really deliver like a WrestleMania did. When it comes down to the main event of the show, Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, I don't know, there's talk today that people think Roman Reigns is hurt. He did do interviews and you know, for .com and for Twitter and stuff like that after his match. You know, some people are saying that on the Kimura, his arm got separated. Definitely, you can hear him say it's out. It's out. He was yelling at Paul Heyman. They definitely went to the finish right after getting out of the Kimura. They jump up. Roman Reigns hits the spear, so there must have been a fear of him being injured, because I don't really see just that match just ending just like that. But Roman Reigns, easily as a heel, one of the biggest, names there is in wrestling right now. I mean, he is a force. I mean, if he's able to beat Brock at WrestleMania, I don't know who on Raw or SmackDown, even like somebody like Braun Breaker. Some people say that be coming up out of NXT is like the next big talent that they have. I don't see anybody on that roster being the guy who's going to beat Roman Reigns. I thought The Rock was going to be there. Definitely, I was thinking that Rock is going to be there after this tonight, I would guess. But then you got to think, like, is Rock really going to be the guy to beat Roman and take... as of right now, we don't know what's going on with those titles. He's got two. I don't see Roman being the guy to defend on Raw and SmackDown. But then again, it is his storyline that, you know, he is the head of the table. Maybe they do have him just go back and forth between those two shows, and finding a way to defend those belts and show that he really is the man, until maybe just one day it catches up with him that he's just defended it too much and he's he's overcashed a check or something like that. But it's gotta be, you know, Rock or somebody like that comes back that humbles this guy. But then you gotta wonder, like, is Rock gonna go on a championship run? Is he just gonna win a belt and then honestly, like, just drop it after a month? And then maybe that restarts Roman Days streak, and maybe they can do some faster, you know, title changes or something like that. But 500 plus days as champion. This definitely, in today's age, is one of the best reigns that I can remember. Because Roman, although he's a heel, he's beat
everybody there is to beat. He's faced every challenge. Yeah, he's got the Usos, he's got Paul Heyman in his corner, but when it comes to big matches, they don't end in DQs. They end in finishes. So the guy's got it. I think he's at the top of his game right now. All those people that wanted him to turn heel, you know, here we are 2 years into a run of finally getting what we wanted, and it's almost like not as many people are watching as used to. So I don't know what that leads to, but we'll see. Hopefully WrestleMania Raw. Well, Raw after WrestleMania? I don't know. That's they called WrestleMania Raw last Monday, so I don't know. Hopefully it's a big one tonight. We get put in the definite direction we're going towards summer, because everybody knows summer's when they crank it up. Peace up, guys.